Hello. I just wanted to quickly say that this is the first time I've ever done a video staring at the camera, so if it's weird, it's probably why. What is something that most, if not all people living in modern culture have in common? They enjoy playing a role. Enjoy the escapism of immersing yourself within fiction so deeply that the world mutes around you. The purpose of this video is to give my opinion on what I believe to be one of the most essential parts of life, and that is the escapism of roleplay. The term roleplay means to imitate the character and behaviour of somebody who differs from yourself. But my opinion is that it's not just limited to this definition. The most popular form of roleplaying comes through the media of gaming, which also happens to be the genre that breeds the best and most interesting franchises of games. In my opinion. Opinions are not though, facts don't lie. And at the Game Awards and other award ceremonies, guess what wins Game of the Year most years? A role-playing game, or better known as an RPG. And there's good reason to that. I know so far all I've done is set up points, but I promise you I'm going to elaborate on them. Most of them, that is. I just wanted to provide some context. I believe it's important to give that. The vast majority of people live quite similar lives. They go to school, they go to work, they have fun with friends, and then they make time to do the things that they enjoy, like playing games, reading a book, watching a movie. But what's something more? Something that most people do without even really realizing it. They immerse themselves in something that isn't true. An example outside of games is when people feel self-conscious about who they are, especially around the people that they care about, which leads them to potentially playing up who they are, either being a more withdrawn version of themselves or a more outgoing, exaggerated version of themselves. They play a role just to escape insecurities. Bringing it back to a much less seriously toned example is that of a dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons, and all the players involved. Getting to play a role outside of their day-to-day lives, to have fun. But where most people get confused about the term roleplay is the line of immersion. You can roleplay in any walk of life, in any game even if the game itself doesn't set out to be immersive. The prime example of this is Helldivers 2. A lot of the time you're just having fun, killing bugs, exploding robots, cracking jokes. But then there comes the point of being overrun. Everything in your life becomes completely redundant, and the sole focus becomes survival. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That unmatched thrill of trying to delay the inevitable, where Helldivers doesn't even set out to be an immersive game. You're not actually pretending to be a disposable soldier fighting on alien worlds. Yet in those last stand moments, you're more immersed than most role-playing games. Many people, especially men, often glorify giving their lives in some heroic last stand, not because they're unhappy in their life, or they even want their life to end, but they just do it, come up with scenarios that would never happen, yet they still think about it. And whilst this isn't a Helldivers 2 review, I will say that the game does a brilliant job at scratching that itch of dying in a blaze of glory, and being able to laugh it off afterwards, even as you see that you failed the mission anyhow. Similar points can be made with games like Doom Eternal. You're not necessarily immersed, but you're playing the role of some insanely overpowered demon slayer fighting endless creatures from hell. A lot of people do just simply like the gunplay that Doom has to offer, and the cool factor. But what does it for me is that feeling of being the one person that's so overpowered that you're able to just win with ease, even against all odds. Odds that the real you wouldn't be able to overcome. That's the role-playing element I see in that game. Now, I'm aware I'm using the term roleplay a bit loosely, but I'm trying to convey what I mean by it. The concept of immersing yourself in something so detached from your actual life is beautiful. The way anybody is able to make up something, make their problems completely disappear through immersion and roleplay, is why it's so popular. Because when I'm playing Football Manager and it's the last minute of the last game of the season, and I score that winning goal, that goal that wins me the league, after countless hours of effort, for a few seconds, I'm not Kai. I'm not the person that does reviews and makes weird videos on the internet. I'm not myself. I'm Kai the Football Manager. Just for a few seconds. It's in these few seconds, in games and media, where life is completely and utterly silent. shelved to prioritize imagination. These few seconds are why I love roleplaying. Life without those few second moments would be completely and utterly mundane. And you can get them even if you're not playing a game. If your favourite character dies in a TV show and the tears well in your eyes, you're acting as if you know them, being empathetic towards them, playing a role, escaping having to think about work or money or any other worries in your life. There are more easily labelled role-playing elements, especially in games. A lot of games have RP modes, with servers with strict rules that you have to stay in character. You must not mention that it's even a game. You must act as if the life is yours, or you simply won't be allowed to play on the server. Hundreds of thousands of people play on these servers, with most actually following the rules. The most popular examples I can think of are those GTA RP servers, or the hyper-realistic military shooter games like Arma or Squad, where you get hundreds of people pretending to be in an actual army. For me, the greatest part of these servers is that I can guarantee you that people from all stages of life are playing them, whether they're rich or poor, happy or sad, married or single, old or young, lonely or surrounded by friends, confused with what to do with their lives, or completely set in stone on what they're going to be doing for the rest of their life. They're still together, they're still playing the same server, still role-playing as the same people, in search of entertainment, in search to escape their day-to-day life, and finding that escape. Now, I'm going to speak about a term called maladaptive daydreaming. Everybody daydreams. It just happens naturally, and it can be about anything. But as a creative writer, I tend to daydream a lot. The definition of maladaptive daydreaming is that it's a mental health issue where a person daydreams excessively to cope with or adapt to a problem. People who go through maladaptive daydreaming unconsciously act out the content of their daydreams. So, for example, if they're daydreaming about having a fist fight, they'll raise their fists. And if they're daydreaming about having a gunfight, they'll pretend to have a gun, that sort of thing. Overall though, I've got to say that labelling a form of daydreaming as a mental health issue is absurd. Of course, it's a problem when you daydream excessively and it gets in the way of work and your actual life. That isn't the definition. It's just a person that chooses to daydream a lot, and in so doing, neglects the reality around them. You probably didn't expect a tangent of me opposing a defined mental health issue, but here we are. To properly think of my creative writing ideas, I tend to fall under the definitions of this disorder, and let me tell you, it's not disruptive. I understand it's a problem if you can't switch your brain off, but every single medical definition recommends that you stop daydreaming, and lists examples of how to stop daydreaming. Instead of just calling procrastination, they want you to just stop daydreaming. Please don't just blindly believe everything I'm saying about this topic, because I'm clearly biased. If you're interested, please do your own research on it. I made this YouTube channel to share my opinions on games and other media forms, and I will continue to do just that. But I've recently just seen how passionate I am about role-playing and how essential it is in my life and everyone else's lives, so much so that I physically can't imagine my life with zero elements of role-play in it. If I'm being honest, I just felt a burning need to share what I think, so I really do apologise if this all seems a bit jumbled and all over the place. I personally consider immersion and role-playing quite similar, as you can probably tell by the absurd amount of times I've said both words in this video. I like to label myself as a creative writer, as I creatively write in my spare time, and I have done for years. And a big part of how I do this is I project myself into the character's shoes, play a role in my own head, just to better understand of what to write next, or what would make sense in terms of the character's perspective. Without doing that, I feel as if my writing would be awful, or at the very least soulless. And I can't say it's just a normal thing to do or not, but it's what inspires me. The main joy of role-playing, be it in a daydream, immersing yourself in a book, TV show, games, or by literally role-playing through writing to somebody else, acting it out, or on any specific game servers, is that it provides escapism. An escapism that even people who have everything in life crave, an escapism that's essential.